Hello, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? It's Tuesday, 8/8/88. Here with baseball and football and not much in gold. I've already presented my little video how the banks are buying all the gold. So look for the gold and silver price to go up. Again, don't pay any attention to COMEX. COMEX is fantasy land. So what it shows on the price, even though the price is going up on COMEX, it doesn't mean anything. It's controlled. All right, so let's get into today's baseball first. We had a hell of a day on this Sunday. We lost Baltimore. We won the Boston over. We won Toronto. We won St. Louis. The White Sox over 8. 49ers, Arizona over, and the Dodgers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1, hitting the lock. It's weird. You hit that lock, and then you miss a lock, and you get all. Was today 8/8 or 8/9? Today's Tuesday. My apologies, 8/9. How time flies. All right, 8/9. I had one yesterday. There you go. All right. I already have KC. Chicago's already 4-1 in the 7th. Amazing. All right. Let's do today's picks. It is 8/9. Let's see if we got anything to pick. We got Toronto, Manoa, 12-5 with a 2.45 against Bradish for Baltimore. So we like the Maple Leafs right off the bat. Take Toronto. Miami and Philly, we got Garrett for Miami, 2-5 with the 3.88 against Zach Wheeler, 10-5 with the 2.69. I probably like Zach Wheeler here. Let's go Philly. The other guy's 2-5 with a 3.88, so I don't know. He's not good. He's got a good ERA, but 2-5, so we'll take Wheeler at home. Atlanta and Boston. Charlie Morton, I think it was with the Dodgers a year or two ago for Atlanta. 5-5 with a 4.09 against Rich Hill. 4-5 with a 4.52. Over under 9.5. We're going to go over on the Boston game. They're an over team anyways. Atlanta's hitting the ball, and we're in Fenway, and we're only 9.5. So let's go over with Boston. We got an hour for these games at 6 o'clock here. It's games at 7. Cleveland and Detroit. So Detroit loses Friday. They face McCullough. They beat them 9-1 and then on Saturday. And then Sunday they lose to a clown. The score is 0-0 in the ninth inning, and Tampa scores 7 runs in a row and scores 7 runs in the ninth to win. I'm like, where was that Saturday? So we got Shane Barber, 6-6 with a 3.39 against Tyler Alexander. Again, the Tigers, Mr. Inconsistency, over under 7.5. I have no idea. I think I like Barber, but I'm not playing it, or Bieber. Cincinnati and the Mets, we got Mike Minor, 1-8 with the 6.19 against Carlos Carrasco, 12-4 with the 3.82. We're taking the JETS. I just like betting against Mike Minor, 8 with the 6.19, and I got a good pitcher, Carrasco, who's 12-4. So just on principle, I'm betting against the guy with a 1.8 with a 6.19. So let's go Mets. And they need it anyway for first place. The White Sox and the Royals. So they're playing a doubleheader. Okay, that's why they're off. So KC's winning 4-1 in the 7th, which means the bullpen will get used. So now we have this advantage. We've got Martin for the White Sox, 1-3 with the 4.75 against Hesley, 1-6 with the 5.82. We got garbage and garbage, over under 9.5. I don't like that extra half. Probably an over, I would say, but I'm going to stay away from it right now. Just because I think it's definitely an over. It's game 2. The bullpen's pitching a close game, but I don't see a lot of runs scoring, so I'm going to stay away. We got the Redskins and the Bears, a good NFC match. Espinino for Washington, 0-4 with a 4-2 against Strom, 3-5 with a 4-0. I'm not betting on junk pitchers. Why is the over-under only 7.5? I think it's an over game. I'm not going to play it, but that would be my pick, would be over. Just based on the bad ERAs, the bad pitching, and it's only 7.5 runs. So it looks like an over. Tampa Bay, Milwaukee. We got Yucca bonus for Tampa Bay. 1-1 with a 9 ERA against Freddie Peralta, 3-2 with the 4.46. Again, I would go over, but Tampa, against Detroit, they had 4 guys who couldn't hit 200. Hard to bet an over on Tampa with that lineup. And even though the pitchers are so bad, Milwaukee, who the hell knows? They either win 1-0 or lose 10-9. So again, this is a game to watch. Texas and Houston. This is a good football game. The Cowboys. Let's see. Perez for Texas. 9-2 with a 2.47 against Uridy. 10-4 with a 3.62. Good game. Is it a good under? And we're going to play a small under here. Take Houston under. And it's under 7.5. You got 2 good pitchers. It's worth a little. Perez, I think, Texas's ace, and Ugrani, decent. I don't want to bet against Houston at home, so I'm gonna go under because of the ERAs. The Cardinals in Colorado, over/under of 11. Now here I'm scratching my head. Miles McCollus for St. Louis, 8-8 with a 2.92 ERA against Ryan Fedler, 1-3 with the 5.75. I'm going to just take St. Louis here because of one of their aces, although he's 8-8, but he's got a 2.92 ERA. I can't mess with the over-under of 11 with a pitcher. See, here's where I got a starter who's got a 2.92 ERA, 8-8, but he can't handle the record as much as he can handle the 2.92. Where's the 11 runs going to come from? So, they just beat the Yankees. They swept them over the weekend. So I'm going to take St. Louis here. I think they're hot. We got the California Angels and the Oakland Raiders. We got Shotani, 9-7 with a 2.83 ERA against James Kerlippen, 3-5 with a 4.32 ERA. Over under is, I question the playing every day. I don't gimmick. 9-7, not a good record with 2.83, good ERA, 6.5. I can't play unless I'm going over. Oakland has no hitting. Shotani, I don't like. He's 9-7. It's not like he's Verlander. So let's ignore that game. The 49ers and the Chargers, great football game. Montana against Fouts, I remember that one. Alex Cobb for the Niners, 3-6 with a 4.08 against Musgrove, 8-5 with a 3.0, over under 7.5. Musgrove was the ace, but 8-5 with a 3.0. That's a number 2 pitcher against Cobb, who 3-6, the 4. I don't know, probably an over, but I don't like the 7.5 at all, so I'm going to pass on that one. The Steelers and the Diamondbacks. Zach Thompson for the Steelers, 3-8 with a 5.15 against Tommy Henry, 0-1 with a 7.20, who's obviously new. Over under 8.5. I think this is an over. We're going to go over with Arizona. It's 8.5. You're giving me a 7.20 ERA. Now, granted, if he has 3 innings of shutout ball, his ERA probably drops to 4. But Zach Thompson, 3-8 with a 5.15. So he's not good. You can't bet on either team. So we're going to go over 8.5. Arizona seems to score more at home. The Yankees and the Seahawks. Cole, 9-4 at 3.56 against Castillo for Seattle, 5-4 at 2.95. Two good ERAs, over under of 7. I don't know. The Yankees did finally get the win yesterday. Look for them to go, but I'm not going to mess with Castillo. I got to go over with the Yankees against this guy, over 7. Castillo's okay. He's 5-4 with a 3 ERA. Cole, 3.56 ERA. So, I just think the Yankees snapped out of it and they started winning. So look for them to go. And the last game, the Vikings and the Rams. Nice NFC game, over under 8. Joe Ryan for the Vikings, 8-4 at the 3.67. Urias, 11-6 with the 2.57. Pretty low ERAs. Usually I just take LA and usually I just win with them. I don't know here. Do I dare go? Oh, no, I'm going to forget this game. So I don't see a lock. I don't see much. Again, you figure they're getting tired. So we're going to go again. You got an hour recapping Toronto, Philadelphia, Boston over 9.5. The Jets, Jets, or the Mets, Houston under 7.5. St. Louis, Arizona over 8.5, and the Yanks over 7. Just on principle that they're the Yanks, and I don't feel comfortable. Cole's okay, but the Seattle pitcher's good. So let's go over with the game. That is today's picks. Now we're going to do some college football. Now, I went over every team in college, all 650 of them. Well, just Division I. So all 133. Pretty good, balance that. So now I'm just going to go conference by conference in a summary and give you kind of a way to recognize it. What do I teach here? You're looking for the A teams, you're looking for the Z teams, the overs, the unders. You want to bet an over team against a Z team, against a weak defense. That's what you're looking for. You don't want to bet a good passing team. You don't want to bet Miami versus Clemson or versus Georgia. It ain't going to happen against teams like that. You do want to bet them against Rice or against Texas Tech or teams that – now the difference is Rice, you just want to bet Miami. Texas Tech, you want to bet the game over. So you want to see who the opponent is, but you cannot possibly remember 130 teams. So we look at the stats. We try to look at the scores and throw out the Division II games that everybody seems to play week 1 or week 2. So, as an example, Maryland won one game 70-0 over like Albany 2 years ago, and you had to throw it out. So when you get the stats, you go minus 70, and then you get rid of the 0. And they went from an over, like scoring 30-some points a game, giving up 10. You took it out, and all of a sudden they're a 20-point team giving up 25. And that's why you got to pull it out, because you got to get to the real team. And the real team there was simply they were not an over team, but they look like an over team scoring 70 points on Albany. And that's what you're looking for. Why does college football still have this Division II games? It blows my mind. What is the point? And then they'll make the bowl game or the playoff, like Alabama making the playoffs. They're 11-1 with 2 wins against Division II teams that shouldn't even count. So let's make them 9-1. And poor Baylor, who's not playing a Division II team, gets screwed out of the playoff because Alabama. Yeah, they beat Duquesne and the Citadel, but Baylor beat Oklahoma State. That doesn't count. It's so ridiculous. They definitely need an 8, at least in my opinion, an 8 or 12 team playoff. You have that many. All the conference champs should make it into the playoff and are capable of winning the playoff. To say Alabama, who beats New Mexico State, look how good they look. Well, okay, let's look at them. They lost to Burrow. They got killed. They lost to Ohio State a couple years ago. Clemson's beaten them. Georgia beat them. So don't tell me they can't lose. It just takes a good defensive team to beat them. So you have a Baylor, you have an Oklahoma State. Um, the Pac-10 doesn't have the good, strong defense, but that's what you need. And then you need a very good quarterback. So UCLA and Utah could do some damage to Alabama this year. I think Utah could give them a good game because Ohio State always has a good defense. It wasn't as good last year, but they lit them up. They put up 40-some points on Ohio State. You can't tell me they wouldn't have put up 30-some on Alabama, which could have been enough to beat them. So I'm not buying there's only one or two teams in the playoff. There's only 4 teams. That's bullshit. You need enough, all the conference champs, and then you go, okay, there's Georgia and Alabama, there's UCLA and Utah, there's Baylor and Oak State, Ohio State, maybe Michigan or Penn State. Yeah, there's always multiple teams that are very capable of winning that should be in the playoff. Right now, it's just ridiculous. And then they call the bowls. Now they're exhibitions. And I hate these idiots sitting out. I lose all respect, like for Strong on Nevada. That guy's ridiculous. He sits out. He's afraid. Like Pickett too. I'm sorry. These guys are not football players. All right. So let's get into it. The AAC, which is Cincinnati and Houston and everything. So the 8 teams there are Cincinnati and Houston. The Z's are Temple and USF. Navy's more of an under team where they run the ball. It's about all I did with them. But Cincinnati has a new quarterback. Houston probably be the best team, but the difference is Cincinnati has a strong defense. Houston, a better offense. And again, Temple and USF we're going to be betting against. They're your Z teams. So what you want to recognize, these smaller conferences, somebody's playing Temple who's good, they're going to kill them, or USF. I mean, they stink. I hate their coach. So that's what you're looking at. In the ACC, Atlantic Coast, we've got really only 1A, which is North Carolina State. Then we have the Z, Duke and Georgia Tech, both suck. But then we have the over teams, Miami and Wake Forest, maybe North Carolina. And then the under team is Clemson. So while they're not A teams, like Clemson's not an A team. They don't have a quarterback. They don't have an offense. They're going to run the ball. They're a beautiful under team. And then you got like Miami and Wake, who both have great quarterbacks and great offenses and no defense. An A team is a good defense and a good offense. North Carolina State has that good quarterback. They score, and they have a really good defense. Next to Clemson, they're the best. So that's what you do. But you don't play, North Carolina State. Now, if they play Miami or Wake, it's going over. They will score on them. If they play Clemson, it's probably going to be a low-scoring game because they'll contain Clemson, and Clemson will contain State. So those are your ACC teams. The Big 12, my A teams, Baylor and Oak State. The Z team is Kansas. Then we've got the over teams, Oklahoma, Texas, Texas Tech. They're going to score. Now, I don't know what Oklahoma is going to be like this year. You brought in a new coach who's a defensive coordinator for Clemson. Well, he doesn't know anything about coaching, head coach, and doesn't know anything about offense. I mean, Clemson's offense hasn't been good for years. Texas scores, Texas Tech we all know about. And then the under's Iowa State. And the under team is usually the team with the best defense. Iowa State, in and out, has a great defense. They got a new quarterback. Brock Purdy moved on, and he's very good. So he moved on, so they're going to probably run the ball a little bit more. But this is a team you watch. If they all of a sudden you read the box score and then you hear the replacement lights it up, then now they're an A team. They already have the defense. We know that. So it's just a matter of what do they have with it. And that's what you do. And it's the same thing with Oklahoma. If they start giving up 10 points a game, because of the new defensive coach, then they're not an over anymore. They're only an over if their defense is weak. Oklahoma, Texas Tech normally had weak defenses. We will see. Kansas, very weak defense, but they don't normally score a lot. Now, maybe If all of a sudden they're scoring 30 points a game, they're not a Z anymore. The Z has to no offense and no defense. That's a Z. So if they start scoring, you change it right away. You go, no, now they're an over team because they don't have a defense. And it's hard for Kansas to have a defense. They can pop a quarterback in and play 4 wide receivers and throw the ball around and maybe score, but they can't play. Defense is a whole different animal. You can't just bring in a guy to do that. So if they get better, they're an over team, not necessarily an A. And the same thing, Oklahoma, Texas Tech probably will all be over teams. The Big Ten, now the A teams right now is Ohio State and Michigan. The Z teams, Northwestern, Rutgers, and Indiana. So there's a bunch of weak teams here. Indiana, Penix got traded to Washington State or whatever. Rutgers, decent defense. Northwestern, I don't know. We'll see if they got better this year. The under teams, Iowa and Illinois. Iowa, always a great defense, always a base offense. They're going to run the ball, and we're going to beat you with defense. And it's a very sound thing. I could have put Wisconsin in there. They're probably an under also. They never have a quarterback. It's amazing how Wisconsin can't get a quarterback. They get Russell Wilson, goes from NC State to Wisconsin. And this is where I say it's not the system, right? You have all these quarterbacks that go to Wisconsin and don't do shit, right? Russell Wilson comes in and scores 40 a game with that offense, tells you he's a superstar. Now, at Ohio State or Alabama, anybody comes in and lights it up. That tells you it's a system when Jalen Hurts lights it up. Tagliabue. Now Matt Jones. They all light it up. Oh, well, they're all superstars. Really? It's that easy? It's the system. They get in the NFL. None of them can do anything. But that's when you're in a team like Miami of Florida now with Van Dyke. Baylor, they're not a 40-point team, but they were last year. So you get these teams that, like Oklahoma, they always throw it. And again, it's a system, but not Wisconsin. You got some guy who's throwing up 35, 40 points a game like Russell Wilson did. That's your quarterback, because that's not a system. That's because he's that good of a quarterback. And that's what you're looking for. The over teams, Purdue and Maryland. Maryland, they're an average team. They score a lot, no defense. Purdue's the same thing with Braum as the coach. He was at Western Kentucky, I believe, or Louisville, and he lit it up. Comes to Purdue, good quarterback. They score, but their defense is a little iffy. More of the over team. So the whole Big Ten, you pretty much got most of them are unders. So if Iowa plays Rutgers, you're not getting a lot of score. If they play Indiana, you're not. First week, I think we got Illinois, Indiana, probably an under. Now, if Ohio State plays Northwestern or Purdue or Maryland were to play Northwestern or Indiana, they're going to light it up, and that'll be it. That'll be a high-scoring game. Same thing with Ohio State, Michigan. Michigan State, probably a B team. They're very good. The defense, not sure about. Love their quarterback, Thorne, but I'm not sure where to put them at this point. They could go to an A, like Penn State. Michigan State and Penn State are very good and good defense, but not Ohio State good and Michigan good. I'm questioning Michigan again. The defensive coordinator leave. It's funny with Harbaugh. When he came, you're all excited. Oh, he brought this coordinator from the 49ers and that coordinator. And every year the coordinators leave. I'm like, what the hell is going on there? So again, he got a new defensive coordinator. The other guy went back to the Baltimore Ravens. So we'll see what happens with Michigan. You always keep an eye open, but Ohio State is the real deal this year. They are pissed off. Look for them to kill Notre Dame the first week, get to number 1, and stay there. I don't see anybody that can beat them in the Big Ten. Maybe if they go to Iowa, I think maybe they go to Purdue. That's where their trap is after a big game on the road. That's the trap of all these teams. Conference USA. All right, the A teams, UTSA and UAB. UAB is Alabama, Birmingham, and UTSA is Texas, San Antonio. Don't get UTSA confused with UTEP, who's Texas, El Paso. There's a lot of Texas and a lot of Ohio and a lot of California schools. Don't get confused. It's UTSA and UAB are the cream of this conference. The Z teams are Rice and Florida International. Rice just stinks. They're trying to run the ball more this year, but their defense is terrible, and they don't have a quarterback, and Florida International is terrible. The over team here is Charlotte with Reynolds, good quarterback. Western Kentucky always light it up. Zapke was there last year. He had like 62 touchdown passes. And Louisiana Tech's going to an air raid offense with a new coach. Keep that in mind. Now, will it take them 2 or 3 weeks? Probably, but it depends who they play. But those are your over teams. Sun Belt. The A teams are App State and Coastal Carolina. We know App State, good defense. They're always a pretty good defense, and they score. They're a very good team. They could beat North Carolina without too much problem the opening week. They are from North Carolina. Coastal Carolina, also from North Carolina, has the great quarterback McCall. Look for them to be right there. Very strong team. Your over is Georgia State. They pass the ball a lot, not Georgia Southern. Don't be confused. I know there's like Florida International, Florida Atlantic, Georgia State, Georgia Southern. So Georgia State's going to score. The B teams are Marshall and Texas State. So here's where this information is valuable as the Sun Belt, right? You got Marshall, who I don't think was in the Sun Belt before. I think they're in Conference USA. I don't recall them being there. They're usually a very good team. Texas State, North Texas. I mean, that's what you got to get used to. But Texas State is a pretty good team. And then the under team is Troy. Good defense, not much offense. And the Z team here is Louisiana Monroe, the team we're going to make our fortune on in the Sun Belt. Coastal Carolina, Louisiana Monroe, App State, Georgia State, Marshall, all those teams getting Louisiana Monroe are going to kill them. And then in these smaller conferences, they got to put up big numbers, and they're not going to be down for Louisiana Monroe. The only time you really get that they're flat is when they played a big game. Oklahoma plays Texas. The winner probably is going to be flat. If they have to go to Baylor or Oak State, they're probably going to lose. That's when you bet against them. Is Oklahoma, Texas, they're up here. Okay, we won. Whoever wins, and then they go on the road. And here's Baylor going, okay, you think you're pretty good, huh? Okay, we'll show you how good you are. And that's what you're looking for. So keep in mind of the schedule. Keep in mind of the big emotional games. And then what's the next game? Now, if they're playing Rice, it's not going to matter. If they're on the road playing a Baylor, playing a Georgia, playing a Clemson, Miami, you got to be careful with that. Okay, the MAC, the A team, Northern Illinois and Toledo. Now, they usually win the conference. It's amazing how the same teams win it. Probably their coach. The Z team is Akron right now. Could be a few more. And the over team is Central Michigan with the great running back. That's 1,600 yards and a good quarterback. Miami of Ohio with Blaine Gabbert and Kent State. Those three are good over. They'll score, and their defense is okay. Northern Illinois, Toledo has the good running, passing, and defense, and Akron just sucks. So that's how you do it as far as looking, because the MAC, last year I don't think I bet the MAC more than 2 or 3 games. I had won a lot on Buffalo the prior few years, and then their coach left. And I still kind of played Buffalo a little bit, but once you lose the coach, you got to be careful. So take that in consideration. So definitely But this is a conference you want to play in conference, or if they play Conference USA or they play the Sun Belt, then it's all comparative competition. You don't want to fuck with these guys against Ohio State or Notre Dame or Michigan or Alabama. Don't think, oh, yeah, Toledo, yeah, they got a great odds. They're going to play Alabama. No, they're not. And it's because Alabama can pressure the quarterback is why they beat these littler colleges. Because eventually they just blitz every play. And unless you have a Tom Brady who can take 2 steps and throw, that's how you beat a blitz. Well, these guys aren't going to be able to do it. The Mountain West, I love the Mountain West, made tons and tons of money in the Mountain West back when TCU and Utah were part of it. They would cover every week. I'd bet them every week. TCU 52-0, Utah 52-0. And then they'd play each other and you'd tease the dog and you held your bet, but you lost the bet because you couldn't play TCU and Utah when they played each other, or Utah would play BYU, and that would always cause a crank in it. So Mountain West, the A teams, clearly Fresno State, best team in the conference. Hayner, the quarterback, good defense. The B teams are Boise and Air Force. They're pretty good. Maybe they're A teams, but right now they're just a tad under Fresno State. So they're good. Air Force, strong dog. Take the dog against Navy and Army in the Air Force game. It's usually close because they know how to defend each other. But Air Force, they'll play anybody. They'll play passing teams, and they can run. They have a pretty good offense. It's not just a running like maybe Navy where they run the whole game. Air Force can throw on you, and they're a pretty competitive team. I do like Air Force. Boise, a new coach, we'll see. But Fresno, no, they went into UCLA and beat them on the last play of the game, like 41-38 last year. And I had Fresno in 10, so it didn't matter. But brilliant quarterback, Hayner, absolutely strong dog, especially in the conference. Out of conference, be careful. Now, they handled UCLA and they handled another top team, I think Utah. But just keep in mind, don't get too carried away with them. But as long as they handle an easy Pac-10 team or their conference or a Sun Belt team, they'll do very well. The Z teams, Hawaii, New Mexico, and UNLV. New Mexico and UNLV are terrible. Hawaii brought in Timmy Chang, who used to be the coach or the quarterback. He was pretty good. He's brand new. He's going to run his offense, but can they? Do they have the line to run it? Does the quarterback know it? So it's going to take them, let's say, 4 or 5 games till they start going. They open with Vanderbilt, who sucks, but it's still an SEC team. How bad can Vanderbilt be going to Hawaii and only being a 7-point favorite? So it's not enough to take Hawaii in 13. I don't know how strong Vandy is to bet them as an over in the game, but Hawaii, they'll definitely, like if this was UCLA Hawaii, the bet would be over by a mile. But here you can't. So New Mexico and Vegas, they're our bet against. Fresno State plays either. We just lay the wood with Fresno State. Where other good teams. Another over is Utah State. What the hell are they doing playing Alabama week 2? Well, week 1, second week. You got to be kidding me. Good luck. I mean, I don't get it. They have nothing. Okay, they can't win. They don't have the defense. Now, I think they can score because I think they got a good quarterback and a good system. It's Arkansas State, but they're 45-17 maybe. I don't know. They can score a little bit for you, but they're going to get killed. And then the under teams are San Diego State and Wyoming. San Diego State always strong defensively, and Wyoming is always strong defensively. And so those are your unders. So you don't want to fuck around with Fresno State, San Diego State. That's where Fresno State, I think they lost there last year to San Diego State. You don't want to fuck with Fresno State against them. Now, if you get Air Force as a dog against San Diego State, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for San Diego State to be the favorite in the game against Boise, Air Force, Fresno State, Utah State. And, they're laying 3 or 4. I can take Fresno in 10 or Air Force in 10. That is what you're looking for because they don't score a lot, but they play strong defense. So they're not, you're not going to get a lot of scoring, but they're not going to score either. So the game should be close, but you got a Fresno State or you got an Air Force who can score. And I think that's what we had Nevada against San Diego State, and one last year was strong. Wyoming, same thing, good defense. They're going to run the ball. So the key here is in conference. If you got Fresno State, Boise, or Air Force as the dog against San Diego State or Wyoming, which could happen, that's what you're looking for. Now, if San Diego State's 17 over Vegas, then you got to, what do I do? Because they don't score that much. They'll shut out Vegas 21-24-0. So maybe it goes to an under game. Same with Wyoming. Now, Nevada, I do not have there. A new coach, new quarterback. What are they going to do? We'll know more after about 3 or 4 weeks. So that's the type of team Nevada, because of all the changes, you got to give them at least 4 games. I mean, against a good team. The first week, I think they got New Mexico State, which if they had them week 4, you could say, oh, yeah, Nevada, they're going to score. Now we're going to jump on them because New Mexico State's terrible. We just don't know how good Nevada is. So that's what you watch. But we know Fresno State, Boise, Air Force, they all have quarterbacks back. So we have an understanding of what's going on. That makes it – that's what you stick with. The first few weeks, UCLA, Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, we know what we have so we can move forward. Nevada, why would you bet Nevada? You don't know what they are. They should be good because it's Nevada. It's a good program. They score a lot, but you don't know what they have. So, again, be careful with that. All right, the Pac-8. As USC and UCLA leave, and who else is going to leave? The A teams are Utah and UCLA. Not the greatest of defenses, as you saw from the Rose Bowl where Utah played Ohio State, where I covered my over at halftime. But good quarterbacks, good running backs. They're very balanced offensively and decent defense. Not great, but they'll be in the mid-20s. So those are your A teams. The Z teams, Stanford, Colorado, and Arizona. So that's clear. They stink, and you're looking to bet overs against them. The over team is USC, Oregon State, Washington State, the normal suspects. Now, what I don't like is because Oklahoma's coaches going there, they're automatically saying, oh, USC's the best team, the quarterback's the best quarterback. That's bullshit. Best quarterback sitting at Utah, and the second best quarterback sitting at UCLA, till I see otherwise. You cannot give it to USC. I don't know how good he is. We'll find out, but I can't say he's better than those two because I've seen those two. I've seen Redding against Ohio State, and I know Thompson. I've seen him, and they're both much better. Not much better, but just as good as Williams, if not better. Oregon State, the balanced team, strong quarterback, good running back. Washington State, they'll score. The under teams are Cal, Oregon, and Washington. So Oregon's got the Georgia defensive coordinators. Their coach, they're going to run the Georgia defense. They'll probably start running more. They didn't have a quarterback last year. Brown really was terrible. So we'll look what we have. And again, you could have a sleeper. Oregon, Cal could have a good quarterback, but right now they're under teams. Decent defense, okay offense, but nothing great. So you definitely want to be betting against Stanford, Colorado, and Arizona here. That's your Pac-8. And then your SEC, which we know, A-team, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas. Those are your cream. LSU and Kentucky are right there. LSU, I'm going to guess they'll be an A team by the end of the year, and Kentucky certainly can be an A team. So you have 5 very strong teams. The Z team, Vanderbilt, which will be lucky to beat Hawaii. South Carolina, because I don't think whatchamacallit, I want to call him the Riddler, the Rattler from Oklahoma. He sucked at Oklahoma, and if you suck on that offense, you ain't going to do anything at South Carolina. And then Missouri, probably more of an over team. They score, but their defense is terrible. So you definitely are going to be betting against Vandy, and my guess is South Carolina. And Missouri could be an over. The over teams I know are Tennessee, the Mike Leach offense, Mississippi State, and I got Kentucky twice, so we're going to keep them as a B team, but they will score. So let's call them a B right now. But Tennessee and Mississippi State are the overs. The unders are Auburn and A&M. They both pretty good defenses. We don't know much about their quarterbacks. They haven't been they've been like B teams, but their defense has played really well. So I look for their defense to play well. I'm leaving out Old Mississippi because I don't know. Old Miss, I just don't. I like Lane Kiffin. How do you like him? I don't know. He's so bad at Tennessee. He was so bad at USC. And then he's the offensive coordinator at Alabama, which, what does that mean? And Corral, I don't know. He was okay, but I don't think he's a great quarterback. So we'll see who they get. We'll watch their quarterback. We'll watch what happens. But Kiffin's he was a good coach at Florida Atlantic with that competition, and we'll see. He was decent last year. So we'll leave Ole Miss. They're not a Z team. Are they an over? Are they an under? Are they an A, a B? We don't know. So that is your look at each conference, the A's and the Z's. So that's what you're looking for. You're looking for the over team, Fresno playing New Mexico. They're going to kill them. You're looking for you're looking for maybe a Houston to play New Mexico or Vegas. You're looking for these crossovers. You're looking for Miami to play Hawaii or to play Vegas or to play Stanford or to play Rice. I think we got a Rice game. I think USC plays Rice the first game. They're laying 35. That'll be over at halftime, I'm pretty sure. But again, USC wants to show, look how good we are. But that's what you're looking for. So don't get messed up by the overs and the unders. The over doesn't have a defense. The under doesn't have an offense. The A's have both, and the Z's don't have either. And that's very important because you don't want to fuck with a over team playing an under team. You got Maryland against Iowa, and what happened? We bet Iowa, and in the first half, he threw 5 interceptions. The game was over. I think I don't know, forgetting or laying. It was a very even point spread, maybe 2 or 3. The game was over at halftime. The guy threw 5 interceptions. You cannot bet an over. You cannot bet an over team against a good defensive under team. You must play the defense because they'll find a way to score, but they're going to stop you. And if the quarterback starts throwing interceptions, you're screwed, where my defense is going to come. See, I know the defense will be there. The quarterback might not show up. I gave the Joe Namath example the other day where in the 68 season against a weak Denver team, and he threw 5 interceptions and they lost to like a 1 or 2 win Denver team. And they're joking to him like, hey, Joe, we wear the green uniforms, because he kept throwing to the other team. That's the only way that's how a good team loses, is the quarterback throws a lot of interceptions. You never have where the New York Giants lose because they get blown out, right? They have Lawrence Taylor. They have the defense. The defense is easy. They show up. They rush the quarterback. He's scared out of his mind. He throws the interceptions. You get pick sixes. You get turnovers. They don't get any points. Well, you're not going to lose That's why you got to find the best defense. That's why I look at the scores. This year, I already know Clemson will be the 1 defense. Georgia will be the 2 defense. Now, you got Iowa. You got maybe LSU, who always has talent. Maybe you have San Diego State. I'll have a good defense. Let's go down the list. Iowa State, good defense. We know Clemson. Iowa, Illinois, Ohio State could have a 7. Baylor could have a 7. Let's see. Clemson, we know, is going to be strong. And what do you do with San Diego State? I got Oregon, Washington, and Auburn and A&M. And what do you do with them? If you're confused, do I bet them? Because I don't know if I'm going to get enough points. That's when you go under with them. You look at the numbers. So I looked at Georgia, Alabama, and I'm still in the 50s. That was a lock. The championship game, we locked under. It was an easy winner. Against Michigan, good defense, Michigan, good defense, Georgia. I didn't expect Georgia to score that much, and I knew Michigan wouldn't because Michigan doesn't have a quarterback, and they run the ball, and you do not run on Georgia. And what happens? It was an easy under, as most of the Georgia games were. So you got enough offense to score 20, and then they give up nothing or, very little. But that's what you do with an under team as well as an over team. When they play a weak defense, you bet them. When they play another strong offense, you bet them over. And that's what you're looking for. But you don't want to fuck with an A team with an over team. You'll probably get a lot of points. Like Miami and North Carolina State probably went over last year. But a Clemson and a North Carolina State, you don't want to fuck with North Carolina State in that game. It's going to be really tough scoring on Clemson. So then you have to probably look at the under, or if you can get North Carolina State as the dog, then you take it. But you have to be very careful betting against a very strong defensive team like Georgia last year. They won and covered every game except for they laid down against Alabama. So Alabama could get into the playoffs, which was such a joke. And it was so obvious. They gave up 40 points. And then in the championship game, they gave up really 10 because of the worst call I've ever seen. But that's the point. That defense was so strong. So that's how you take advantage of it. Van Dyke at Miami, Hartman at Wake Forest. You take advantage of the over, but you don't fuck if they play Clemson, you don't fuck the game. You just let it go. You can't play the game over. Not against that defense. A good defense always shuts a good offense. So not that you're going to play it under, but you just got to be careful. That's when you go and you look who's Rice playing and where's Oklahoma. Are they playing an over team? And who's Iowa? Are they playing an under team? And that's what you look for. So those are each conference is more of a summary. Your A's, your Z's, your over, your under. Now, of course, they should change a little, but not too much. Iowa's going to be an under team. They've been an under team for 10 years. Wisconsin, an under team. Texas Tech, an over team. Any of them, Mike Leach, Mississippi State's going to be an over team. You pretty much know Miami of Florida should be the over team. Wake Forest, they're going to score a ton. Clemson's going to be an under. The question is if they change quarterbacks and the kid they bring in is going to be much better. I don't know why he's sticking with the guy. The guy's terrible. Uglabi is horrible. What is can't you see that? You're the freaking coach. You can't see this coach. This guy sucks. What is going on in your mind? You got to bench this guy, trade him, let him go through the transfer portal. Go, get away. I'm sorry. Other teams to watch: Ohio State, teams that missed the playoffs: Baylor, Oak State, Ohio State, UCLA, Utah. Those teams are going to be pissed off. They want to get to the playoff. they're going to be pissed off, and they can do something about it. So keep your eye on those type of teams, especially the balanced ones. I'll do that maybe tomorrow or later in the week when we'll just talk about 200 200s. So you run for two, you pass for two. Nobody can stop you. Now, a Clemson against that type of team are going to have, they're probably going to lose to that type. Like if Baylor played Clemson, I think Baylor would 13-3 them, because Clemson doesn't have the offense, but they have the defense. So Baylor will get 2 touchdowns. That'll be it. Instead of the 35 they score, they'll get 10 or 13, and that's all they'll get. But that's okay. Watch the new quarterbacks. Watch the running backs. I go into Yahoo and I go into stats, go into running backs, and you'll see who's running. And if you see anybody run for 200 yards the first couple of weeks, then you note that. That's going to be a tough team to beat. That's where I found Oregon State last year. They had a running back named Baylor who ran for 250, and their quarterback got going when they beat USC. They killed USC. And that's what you look at. Now, not only does it tell you USC has a terrible pass defense, but still you look at, now you can see Oregon State is very balanced. And that's what you're looking for. Sometimes it's easy. We figure Baylor's going to be like that. Oak State, Ohio State, we know is balanced. But the other teams, we're not, like Penn State, Michigan State. Is Michigan State going to find another Walker who all of a sudden, I don't know who drafted that guy, but that's a steal, whoever drafted him. He should have gone really high up. That's the problem when they start drafting these offensive linemen. Even example, like the Lions draft offensive linemen in the first 8-9 picks. The whole offensive line is like number 1 draft picks. They suck. It doesn't help you. You can do better with Barry Sanders and no offensive line than a great offensive line and no running back. Because I can blitz 6 guys on your line, and I don't care who you have, you're in trouble. And you don't have a running back that's going to do anything. Look at the Steelers. They bring in Franco Harris. Boom. You look at the Raiders. Before they had a running back, they didn't do anything. They get Marcus Allen. They win 2 Super Bowls. The Redskins get Riggins. The 49ers get Roger Craig. You go on and on and on. Even Buffalo with Thurman Thomas. They lost 4 Super Bowls, but they were a great team. Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas. Just a terrible coach, and they didn't have a good enough defense. They never really had – they had good players, but never that 7-point defense. And that's really what you need to win the title, not scoring 40 a game. That's how the Giants beat them, right? 20-19, wide right. They couldn't move on the Giants, right? And Lawrence Taylor comes through, gets the W. That's why we like defense, because they shut down Jim Kelly and all that. That's the whole point of it. So the teams with the runners normally, except for Montana's first year when they didn't have a runner, he threw quick passes to Freddie Solomon, and Dwight Clark was their running game. But then you have a Joe Montana. So show me a Joe Montana, and then you got Tom Brady, who can win with New England with no running. That's about it. But that's what you're looking for. So, yes, you want the running back. And so we don't know. It might be we know Central Michigan, the guy last year ran for 1,600 yards. We already know we got that. Pretty good. They got an offensive coach and a decent quarterback, so they should score for you. And you're just looking for a team with a fairly weak defense, and then you jump on Central. But against a very good defense, like if Central played Iowa, you don't fuck with them. You leave it alone. They play Michigan, you leave it alone. But if they play a weaker team, let's say they were to play Northwestern, you're taking Central Michigan in that game. Northwestern's not going to stop them. Indiana is not going to stop. I would take Central over Indiana in a heartbeat. Go against the Z teams. Maybe Purdue, but not against Iowa and not against Ohio State or Michigan or Penn State. they're not going to do anything. So again, Penn State, Michigan State, we're waiting. Is the running back going to come out? So there's those teams that we're not sure of. They lost key players. So that's really what we're looking for. So that's college. Again, the baseball, Toronto, Philadelphia, Boston over 9.5, the Jets, Jets, Houston under 7.5, the Cardinals, St. Louis, Arizona over 8.5, and the Yankees over 7. Those are today's baseball. A lot of them, there's a lot of I don't know if the team's over or under, and A teams and Z teams. Baseball is so much harder because they play every day. Now they're getting all tired out. That's why the Yankees are going through their little slump. You just don't know. Philly had their peak. Now Seattle is playing well. The Mets have been playing good. The Cardinals are, so in baseball, it's much more streaky, because they all got pretty good pitch. It's the Verlander you're bet. The Verlander is Lawrence Taylor, right? You're betting him. You're betting Scherzer. You're maybe betting McCullough, who's been having a tough time lately. But that's what you're looking for is the stud pitcher. That's who you're betting on. The hitter doesn't matter because the pitcher will get Verlander will get Mickey Mantle out, okay? It doesn't matter. But that's what's happening. So the stock market. Again, being an economist as well as a handicapper, get your money out. I saw Ford stock go up. Okay, why would I want to be in the car stock? First of all, prices are going up, interest rates going up. If I haven't bought a car with 0% interest, why would I buy a car and pay 5% interest now? It's just a lot more expensive to buy the car. I bought mine in 2018, taking advantage of 0% interest rates. So why would I own a car company stock? Why would I see Ford and GM? GM I see is going bankrupt again. Ford, they're the worst run company I've ever seen, and I worked there for a little bit. And I thought they were, I was smarter than the CEO at the time, and I'm still smarter than him. Some of these, you don't want to be in the car company. You don't want to be in builders. You don't want to be in anything. So what's happening is inflation makes the value go down, more dollars to buy, spiking interest rates. Now, the Fed funds, interest rates are very confusing. If the Fed actually raises rates to stop inflation, interest rates for cars and for houses should actually go down. Because the reason the interest rates on a house or a car go up is because I'm lending you money, but I'm going to get paid back in this bullshit paper money that's worth less and less and less. So if I lend you $50,000, you're going to pay me back in cheaper dollar. You're going to pay me back in $30,000 worth of dollars, which is basically going to, I'm going to lose money lending you the money. So I got to make the money up by charging a higher interest rate. Well, when the Fed raises rates, that's why the lending rates go down because they feel the dollar's stronger now. I'm not going to get paid back $30,000. I'm going to actually get paid $40,000 or $50,000 for the 50. So if I gave you 50, you're going to give me back 50. It's going to be pretty close to the 50 I lent you. So I'll just charge you a 1% interest rate. However, it's all mirrors. It's all, David Blaine, as far as raising the interest rate, they can't do. They're making things like credit cards are more expensive. Houses are more expensive because they go with it. So if they raise the rate, all of a sudden your credit card debt goes up. I'm not sure why, but it does. So, because it should go down because they're getting paid back in better dollars. But in inflation, you want to be borrowing because you're going to pay back in cheaper dollars. And that's the point of it. So keep in mind, that's what's happening. So You don't want to be in housing stocks. You don't want to be in car stocks. Anything where the interest rate is integral. Apple is going to get their ass kicked because people aren't going to buy $1,500 iPhones when they're trying to eat. It's far worse than you think. There's problems in China. There will not be a war with China. China can't afford a war. China is going bankrupt. They're 10 trillion in bankruptcy. They can't afford a war. All right, I don't want to talk about this too much. I don't know the interest. So anyway, that's what's happening. Be careful. Get out of stocks. You know about gold and silver or real assets, the mantle cards, the jewelry. That'll protect you. Don't look at COMEX. It's not real. Okay, so we've talked about that. So again, I've given you the football, the baseball. I've given you today's games. And I think that's about it. Oh, on the site. So it's the prices are up there. If you want the season, it's $750 for the whole thing, which is extremely cheap. Usually it's about $1,100. All the prices are up. Now I'm using PayPal. You go in, purchase picks, put in your debit or credit card. I don't even know if you need a PayPal account. You just need either a bank account number or the debit or the credit. I don't see any of that stuff. And then you just buy the picks with it. So that's all you need. But they are up. The prices are up. If you're a returning customer, I take 100 off. The picks are probably going up very, very soon. I got about 4 or 5 college games that I really like that I probably want to get in before they move. Pros, it's a little early for pros. I probably won't post them till Labor Day. I think the season starts the 8th or 9th. So we're going to wait on the pros. I've been looking at the quarterbacks, the coaches. I have no idea. And basically ranking the teams as best I can. The difference is in college, the teams like Georgia's an under. You had no strong defensive team in the NFL last year. I don't know if you can't or they're afraid to hit or what. You had no strong defensive. You had no 18, 19. I don't consider Buffalo a strong defensive team. They played the Jets and they played Miami. And they played New England, 3 teams without an offense with the Alabama quarterbacks who can't quarterback. So that made it. So you got 6 games against weak offenses. Of course, your defense is going to look better until you play KC, and KC shredded them. So you didn't have that strong Steel Curtain or Lawrence Taylor or the Baltimore Ravens, the Steelers. You didn't have that defense. So therefore, you really didn't have an under. So every game was kind of, are they going to be over? Are they going to be under? You don't know. Can I take them as a dog? And really you're left with, I'm betting the dog when Brady, Rodgers, Russell Wilson, now Drew Brees is gone. So it's really hurting because the guys they're bringing up, you can't bet Hurts, you can't bet Tagliavoa, you can't bet Zach Wilson. You can't bet any of these clowns, maybe Joe Burrow. That's about all you can bet on. So it's really difficult, the pros right now, because there's no consistency. You don't have, Philadelphia, great home dog. No, you don't have that. The Giants, all of a sudden, they're a good road dog, but they can't win. Cincinnati's getting better. Tennessee, you don't know. Jacksonville sucks. Cleveland was getting better, but now Mayfield's gone. What do I do with Cleveland? The quarterbacks, Watson is out for 6 weeks. Who's their backup? So I think I ended up going for the NFL to the quarterbacks, and I said, okay, these quarterbacks, let's take Philadelphia and the Lions. So you got Hurts for Philly and Goff for Detroit, 2 lousy quarterbacks. Probably an under game, but we're not sure. We look at Houston has Mills. We go, that's for sure an under. He's a terrible quarterback because Goff could score some points. How good's Philly's defense? Hurts wants to run still, thinks he's still at Oklahoma. Again, the problem with these guys, these Alabama, they can't read a defense, right? They didn't learn how to read a defense. Trevor Lawrence doesn't know how to read a defense. Brady gets to the line. I'm going to throw it here. Hike, boom. He knows where he's throwing it. These guys don't have a clue. They don't even know how to read defenses. That's the problem. So that's what I'm trying to look at is quarterback. Green Bay Mini could be an over. Kirk Cousins is back with Minnesota. He stinks, but Rodgers is good, so that could be an over. Then you got like a Russell Wilson going back to Seattle, but who's Seattle's quarterback? They don't have one, which then makes it, let's take Denver because we got Russell Wilson against nobody. Now, if Seattle had a quarterback, if they would have, if they get Van Dyke, let's say, or Redding, I think Redding for Utah. Now, if they had Redding against Russell Wilson, it's an over. So if you have good quarterbacks, you're going to score. If you have bad quarterbacks, you're not going to score. So now we're down to the quarterbacks because nobody's got a really strong defense. And if it's a bad quarterback against a bad quarterback, we're just going to go under with the game. That's about all I can look at in the pros, but it's so inconsistent. The coach is terrible. 11 new coaches. I've never heard of that. Quarterbacks we know who are good. Mahomes and Wilson. That'll be good overs. KC, Denver. Mahomes against Wilson should be, really light them up games. Those would be good to watch. Again, Miami will struggle, and the Jets will struggle, and New England. I mean, all those type of teams you just don't know what to do with them. Anyway, so that's what's going on. www.teaserking.com. Come to the site, buy the package. The picks will be up probably very soon. Again, I can see a couple of locks the first week, the first real week of college, not the 27th, but the second or third. I see about 2 or 3 that I can lock and getting ready, or at least have good plays. So packages are out there. Go to the site, go to purchase picks. You'll see what they are. It is a PayPal. If for some reason you're having problems with PayPal and you want to use something else, I do not take Cash App. We can maybe do a MoneyGram if you really don't have a credit card or a debit card. Or I do have Venmo, but I'm not promoting it. I want the PayPal because it goes right in. I get the email. I go transfer it in my bank. Off I go. So that's the preferred method. Unless there's problems with PayPal that we need to see, then let me know. Hey, Andrew, preseason week 1, tennis on tonight. What are you betting preseason now? Mets. Well, here, let me give you the pick. So did you win with the White Sox over on Sunday that I gave you? That was my lock. White Sox over 8. Got it. There you go. Okay, Toronto. I'm giving you the Maple Leafs tonight. Philadelphia. Boston over 9.5. The Jets, Jets, which you got Mets run line. Houston under 7.5. St. Louis. Arizona over 8.5, and the Yankees over 7 because they're losing. And it's just such a low number with the Yankees. It's like, seriously, against Seattle? Like, they scored a lot of runs yesterday, so we're going over. Anyway, so how you doing with the gold and the silver and what's going on in Canada? How's the wife? Everybody okay? Trap. What's a trap? I don't know what trap means. Yankees in a trap? How can that be? You can't really trap. Oh, total, because it's so low? Well, I just look at the game. It's the Yankees, unless they're sitting out their players. Cole's got over, wasn't great, and Seattle's pitcher's not great. They want you to bet over. Don't go into that. No, I would think they want you to go under because it's 7. So therefore, they'd want you to say, oh, it's so low, I'm going to go under. But I don't play that game. I look at the game, I pick the score, and then I bet it. And I just think that the Yankees will score more. It's like Georgia, Alabama. Everybody's bitching at me. Oh, Alabama's going to win. And I said, no, I'm looking at the game. Georgia's going to definitely beat them. I'm talking the championship game. They're definitely going to beat them, and they're definitely going to go under. And that's exactly what happened. So look at the game. Don't look at the point spread and then get influenced by it's 7. What's going on? I mean, that just they don't know what they're doing. They're just looking at averages coming up the point spread. They are not trying to influence your bet. They don't know what you're gonna. They don't make it 7, so you bet it over, and then they know, aha, we knew it was going to be a 2-0 game. They don't do that. They're looking at averages. Seattle probably doesn't give up a lot of runs at home. The Yankees, got swept by St. Louis. But yesterday I noticed it was like 8-4 Yankees. So I'm saying the Yankees are back. They're starting to hit. Look out. And I think they'll score. Once you get that, okay, we finally won. Now we feel good. That gold neutral ground. Gold it's through the roof right now. So silver. I don't know if you did you see my show on Saturday? I started off with a video, and it's the guy, one of these guys who buys from the mint, and he said there's been 10 million ounces of silver taken physical from the SLV ETF by banks. So there's 10 million ounces of silver bought in the last 2 months. So it ain't neutral, but buy it before you can't get it and before the price is 20,000 an ounce. With all the shit going on in the world, China's in debt. There's not going to be a war, China and versus the U.S. and Taiwan, unless it's Little League baseball. They can't afford it. They're 10 trillion in debt. The U.S. is 10 trillion in debt. The difference is China has 23,000 ounces of 23,000 tons of gold, and the U.S. has none. But outside of that, there's absolutely no. China cannot afford war. The only reason Russia can is they get in their oil money, and they have 13,000 tons of gold. So China and Russia want gold to go up. India is smuggling in apparently 90 tons of gold, or I don't know, maybe 99,000 ounces or something like that, because they sell the jeweler, they sell this kind of stuff for weddings in China. If you get married, you have to buy the spouse, the woman or the man, gold, or you can't get married. So there's big demand. Silver's going through the roof. So I'm not quite sure what you mean by neutral, but it's about to really go sky high as all the economies. You watch what happens. The U.S. is raising rates, and then I think they're going to do it one more time. You put another 0 after that 2,200, then you'll be close. It'll go, but then as it starts, so what'll happen is it'll go to about 2,500, 3,000. Then people will realize it's the only safe haven, and then it'll go. Everybody will come aboard, and then it's 10 grand, 15 grand, 20 grand. Then the genie's out of the bottle. But right now, yeah, I know that's what it sells today. But I mean, it's just, believe me, there's a lot stronger demand for it than they let us lead on to believe, because the U.S. wants us to buy the dollar that's being inflated to death. Oh no, that's fine, Andrew. Don't worry about it. I understand. So you buying the package this year, Andrew? I'm giving you $100 off, so $650 for the whole year. Pro college through the Super Bowl. Let me know if you're interested. I'm going to post the week 1 college games probably this week, maybe this weekend. You like to wait a little bit on it, but I don't want to wait I don't want to wait too long, like on the Georgia under or some of these other games. It makes sense that it will go up. Yeah, because everybody has paper money, right? So if where are you going to go? Swiss franc? No. The pound is going out. The euro is going out. The yen's going out. The rupee's going out. The only one that's not is the ruble because they back by gold. You have week one play. College, yeah. You going to buy week one? Just go to the site and buy it. Buy the whole year. It's only $6.50. I'll tell you what. You can give me. Let's see. You can either give me a quarter ounce of gold, or let's see, $35 an ounce for silver. So 10, 20. Give me 15 ounces of silver. Of course, American. I'm American. Give me 15 ounces of silver or 1 ounce of gold, a quarter ounce of gold. You can pay me that way. I got one customer who wants to pay me in silver. I said, absolutely. That's perfectly fine. Happy to take it. Or the gold. Happy to take it. I still go to the restaurant, that barbecue place, and he'll still take silver in lieu of meals. Or you can give me baseball cards. You got a Mantle card you want to give me? Okay, Andrew. About time you finally bought the package. You keep hunting around for picks. So come on, buy the package. Buy Carrie a nice diamond at the end, or buy her a couple ounces of gold. All right. So anyway, so week one I'll start posting just because, like for example, like Oregon and Georgia, I like the under. I don't want the spread to move. So a lot of the over-unders I tend to post early. I've moved my passwords up to Monday. So Monday midnight, the next week's games are visible. And my week goes Tuesday to Monday midnight. So if I see a game on Sunday or Monday that I really like, but I know the over-under is going to move. So let's say Utah's playing UCLA and it comes out at 60. I'm going to lock it at 60 because by Tuesday or Wednesday, it's going to be 66, 67. And I want us to get that early number before it jumps. I don't know why they do that because I can't imagine there's that much action that goes on it, but they definitely come out with a bad over-under and then they adjust it a whole 6-7 points in the course of the week. So, hey, Peter. Well, thank you, Peter. I appreciate it. Over the years, I've learned what to do. My latest is these over-unders and A's and Z's. I never used to do that before. I would just bet, Lawrence Taylor. I'd bet Montana, and now it's becoming even. I went to the next level, if that's possible. I'm already the what do they call it? What do you call it? Anyway, I'm the guy. So when they say I can't remember the word, but when they say like the strong bettor comes in, that's me. I'm the strong bettor, and I'm just trying to educate. I do sell the picks. www.teaserking.com, and then you can see the packages, and we can work on something, Peter. My email is on there, so you can get a thing. DK is the best long-term. Tell a friend, you will win. Thank you, Dennis. Appreciate that. Andrew, guaranteed profit. Check the history. We made $44,000 last year, and that was an average year. I made $80,000. One year I was 45-5 on my locks in a 10-week period. I was hitting 5 locks a week for 10 weeks. It was unbelievable. I get hot. Look at my bowl, Andrew. Look at my bowl video where I give you 8 locks and they all win. So that's why I do the videos. You got the proof, you've got the history, and the way I pick gives you what we're looking for. How much do I bet? Well, it depends. I have bankroll, and the way you bet is bankroll. So let's say I have a $10,000 bankroll. I'll start off maybe 500 a game. When I get a lock, I might bet 1,000 or 1,500, and then if I win, I increase my unit from let's say I'm at 500. It'll go to 750. It'll go to 1,000. It moves up. Let me put it this way: 1980, Florida State was playing. I think it was even earlier, but let's say 1980. Florida State was playing Oklahoma. Billy Sims against Bobby Bowden, Florida State in the Orange Bowl. And I had $2,000 on that game on a teaser that I won. And that was in 1980 when $2,000 was a lot of money. So that's but it didn't start at 1,000. I probably started at 50 or 100 that year. And then when I see that lock, then I really jump on it. So the first thing I learned with teasers, you don't bet the same on each teaser, because if I go 2-2, let's say I go 1-1, and I go 3-1, I don't win any money, because the one won, the one lost, I break even. So I avoid that. That's why I vary my bets. So the one I really like, and that's what I'm doing with the calculation. So week 1, for example, I love the Oregon Georgia under, and maybe I play that with Ohio State. Well, that's going to be a bigger bet than maybe the Tennessee and Purdue or something, right? So it all depends. It's all confidence. I look at the game and I go, they're going to win. That's my gut. That's how I make money, is I know what's going to happen. And it's been, let's just say I bet I had the Steelers in the Super Bowl. Okay. When they had Bradshaw and Franco Harris and everything else, I won on the Immaculate Reception. I had Pittsburgh, I think, even or -1. And I'm winning, and then I'm losing with Stabler. And then on that play, I won the bet because I had the Steelers -1 or 2. That's how long I go back, but I get the feel. I love betting the Montanas. I tell you to bet the teams after a loss. So I have all this in me, right? And then I see it, and I jump on it, and I jump on Van Dyke over, and I jump on Georgia under. I didn't know I was going to play Georgia under and lock them 10 times last year, but that's what laid out. They were the best defense in 20 years in college ball. You could they'd given up 7 points a game, and I'm getting 50-point over-unders. I locked them every week. And, so it just stumbles. Clemson should be the under this year. But I just see it, I feel it, and I know what's going to happen. And then I bet. I'm increasing the bet. I hate when I hear somebody say, I bet all my money on this team and I lost. And you're like, you never bet. If I have a $5,000 bankroll, I never bet $5,000 on one game. Because I pick such a high percentage, I bet, 500 here, 500 there, and the 500s keep adding up. And now it's up to 10,000, and now the 500s are 700s or something like that. That's how you do it. I don't make a big bet. I don't, unless it's just like the Oklahoma, Florida State, then I put 2,000. But that's 1980, 2,000. In inflation terms, it's like 20,000 now probably. But anyway, that's what I do. So, come on aboard, Andrew. Because I'm going to be very leery giving out locks to you here, because this is the business, is the football. So you come to the site, you'll get the picks, and off we go. And then you can email me with like what you do here. But baseball is another thing. I don't charge for it. It's such a hard sport. There's so much. But football, I can't just say, I'm locking, this, Green Bay over Minnesota. There's no way I can tell you here. Otherwise, nobody would buy. They'd just say, here's his lock. So anyway, keep that in mind. But you've heard enough baseball to giving you a lot of winners there, and that's a harder sport than football. Anyway, what else? Buy your gold and silver before it's gone and you can't get it. And if you don't like it, You're not a gold and silver guy. I'm going to question that because that's real money and that's your only going to hold your value. But the bigger thing is then go buy a Mantle card or a Jordan or Tom Brady rookie. At least buy one of those. Those will hold their value. They are real assets. Go buy diamonds. Go buy gold chains. Buy something that's real because the money's going to lose its value. And look what's happening in Sri Lanka and Greece and Pakistan and now Japan and China and India. They're all going broke. And they'll come out with new money, but they're all going broke. They can't pay their debts. And the people are the ones getting screwed because now they go to the bank. Sorry, you can't get. Look at China. You can't even go into their bank account. And in some countries, you have 10 grand in your bank, and you wake up Monday and they go, you only got 2,000. That's all we're going to give you. What are you going to do? You're screwed. Gold and silver, you always got it. I got a gold ounce. I'm going to go buy a Mercedes with it. Anyway, it's protection. It will go up. It has to go up because it's counterintuitive. The value of the money drops. That's what the inflation is, and it goes up. And I hate when these morons start talking about like price inflation. Prices are up. That's inflation. That's not inflation. The value of the currency dropped. That's why because it takes more dollars to buy it. But there is no such thing as price inflation. If Mercedes raises their prices, like I saw Ford raise their prices, like from 50,000 to 60,000 for the F-150, and I just laugh like, who the fuck's going to pay $60,000 for this truck? You got to be kidding me. And then, therefore, the stock should drop because they're never going to sell any, and their costs are there. So that's what's going to happen. So I would dump the Ford stock if you own it. But why would I even buy Ford in high interest rate period? If they didn't sell a lot at 0%, they're not selling a lot now. Anyway, anything else? Dennis, Peter, Andrew? Andrew, you watching tennis anyway? How can you watch tennis? Do you bet on tennis? Yeah, I take the Yankees. Baseball last time. The Maple Leafs, Philly, Boston over 9.5. The Jets, Jets. Houston under 7.5. St. Louis, Arizona over 8.5. And the Yankees over 7. Yes, Andrew, there. It's not a trap. All right, that's it. www.teaserking.com. If you are a returning customer, Andrew, I will consider you a returning customer, even though you haven't bought from me, but you do ask good questions. So right now, all my options are posted. You can buy locks only. You can buy college only, pro only. You can buy a week. You can buy a month. You can buy the whole year. The best package right now is a whole year, $750, and if you're returning, $650. I just take PayPal. It's never been a problem, so I'm not aware that there's a problem with it. But you just go to the site, it takes you out. You do your PayPal, you get a password, you come back. I get an email that you bought. I don't see your information, and then you use the password to look at the picks each week. So that's the best package. $750 for a whole year of my stuff is unbelievable. Normally it's $1,100-$1,200, but I realize what's going on. So anyway, have a great day. www.teaserking.com. If you want, email me there. Get you my email, and then you can ask me questions if you'd like. All right, everybody. Thanks. Have a great night. Take care.